Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here. Welcome back to those who'll be back from the previous stream because actually we're starting this immediately after finishing the previous series, Metroid. Today we are also starting a new Let's Learn Japanese with series, which is, as per the title, Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. Let's open it. Funny enough, immediately next to it, actually this is the special version we want to... this is actually the original Zelda, so makes sense actually. We have this one. This is the Legend of Zelda II, as it says in Japanese. Actually, with our letters, the English letter in English. Then we have in Japanese characters a combination of all the Japanese writings. Rinku no Boken. So we'll start with the box art. And as mentioned, we have first in katakana Rinku. Of course, makes sense since it's the name of our protagonist. Sorry about... okay, should be fine. We'll quickly check again the accent, because of course it actually is a word. It's literally Link from English. Hope we didn't have too many issues there. It's actually accent on the first syllable as expected. So just like in English, lucky enough. Then we have in hiragana no, the possessive particle, so links or of link. And last but not least, in kanji, boken. It's a Chinese compound. We literally can see it in this case with two kanji. Unaccented, luckily, so like most of those are. And so actually we'll start by studying these kanji and actually all the components like we did in previous series, funny enough, including The Legend of Zelda, the first one, even though we didn't do it much. Especially we did so in Kirby's Adventure, as I'll also mention again soon enough, but we'll see why. So I'll actually do this. Hope it will work decently despite everything. You should be seeing Wiktionary. I've already opened it on Boken, and we can see also here the accent here written. It's unaccented, so we have a long line only above O, the long vowel mark, and ken. So unaccented. First and foremost, let's start with the kanji for bo. Okay. Okay, now we should be fine. Actually, as we'll see, first and foremost, the origin of the kanji. Hope we'll be fine with the audio there with that, but we have the older forms, as you can see, the historical forms. And yeah, in this case, we have a component above, which is the phonetic one, and it's a hat. We soon see it on its own. Under it, an I, first turned as you'd expect it written, but yeah, then it got turned on a side, so it's actually vertical nowadays. But we have seen that already when we studied the kanji for I. For those, if you want to check it out again, you can find it in our Let's Learn Japanese with series, Kirby's Adventure, as I mentioned. And you can find the parts in which I explained each kanji we've seen in that series in the description of the playlist. So yeah, check that out, and you can find there in which part we've studied that. But yeah, for now, simply remember that the one at the bottom, I'll actually first have to show, because I forgot it. Again, hope that, okay. Let's open this. Okay, now we should be fine. Yeah, the stroke order. There's actually a little change compared to how it's written in Japanese, but I'll mention it in a second. But yeah, the stroke order in itself is the same. We start when the animation ends. We start here at the top, on the top left. We go down from top to bottom, then left to right, top to bottom as a single stroke, left to right, left to right. And then at the bottom, we actually have simply, again, the kanji for I. We have already studied it. I'll wait for the animation still, so that you can see it again. Again, we start from the top left, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom as a single stroke, left to right, and left to right. And yes, so that's the stroke order. Okay. Okay, hope it will be decent. But yeah, the difference, as you might see here, yeah, not here, it can be kind of seen when we'll see the readings in a second, because we'll go first to see to check the top component, the phonetic for sure, maybe even semantic. Everyone agrees that it gives the reading first and foremost, of course, in Chinese, and so the Chinese reading also in Japanese, not the strictly Japanese ones, of course. But yeah, as you might see here, in Japanese nowadays, it's simply written the two strokes, horizontal strokes of the top part, actually connect the left and right side. And so actually it's written like the kanji for sun or day. We've also studied that one in Kirby's Adventure, so again, check that out to see that in detail. But yeah, actually it's unrelated, and yeah, it's simply a graphical change that happened. Even though it can be useful to remember the meaning, but we'll see it again in a second. First, let's focus on the actual origin. And yeah, let's go. Oops. As soon as... Okay. I'll open this. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now we should be fine. Sorry, because I see a warning in OBS, so I'm kind of worried that it might not work properly. In this case, the voice more. But yeah, now we should be fine when it loads. But yeah, we have, well, it's written, we have seen already the stroke order. Also, when adding I on its own, it would be, of course, only the top part. We have an historical form, but yeah, it's simply this, which is a hat. Yeah, simply a hat. And yeah, it's actually also the original form of the kanji now used for hat in Japanese, which uses the kanji we want to study now, so also by adding the I, and then adding another kanji, another part, which of course is the semantic one to specify that it's the meaning is hat. You can see it here in small. I won't make it bigger. We aren't studying it now. I think we might have seen that radical already. It's the one for clothes and so on. Yeah, so it makes sense. But yeah, so simply a hat. And yes, so we can go back to our kanji. I'm waiting to see. Okay. Yeah, the original meaning was actually cover, also in Chinese. But by extension, it became to risk, to brave, to face. And then we also have the to adventure. We see to risk literally danger, as we see for the second kanji. Let's see. Okay. And yeah, actually, in that sense, it can be useful also sticking to how it's written nowadays, because with that I and the sun, you could remember it by thinking of risking by looking, looking with your eyes the sun. You shouldn't do it by and yeah, it's by the way, risk, yeah, more as in the verb in this case, as we'll see soon enough. But yeah, so it can be useful that as a mnemonic. But yeah, it's worth mentioning the actual origin, because actually the upper part isn't technically a sun, and it's the one that gives us the reading, the Chinese reading. Chinese reading, we'll start from that, which is, well, technically we have two of them, but the one used nowadays is bo, written again as bo-u, so long bo, long o. That's the rule in Japanese. And yeah, the one is seen in boken. In addition to that, we have a Japanese, well, a strictly Japanese reading, a native Japanese root, as it says also here. There are more than one, but the one used nowadays is okasu. Should be accented. I'll try to. This is. Yeah, it's risky, but yeah, we should accented. To brave and so on. To risk. Okay. Actually seen, for example, is in I actually try to show you here. Yeah, actually, as you have seen, I had to scroll because actually there are two other verbs with the reading okasu. One which means to invade and several extended meaning. The other one to commit a crime and so on. Yeah, this one, to brave, to risk, to face, to venture. Other extended meanings. But yeah, the fundamental one is to brave, to risk. Sorry, by the way, in the background I'm going back to the Switch. But yeah. For example, I've seen the phrase kiken o okasu. To face danger, for example, kiken means danger. As you might notice, we have ken again. Yeah, it's actually the ken we'll see in a second. The other kanji we want to study. But yeah, so we have this also this strictly Japanese reading. But yeah, after these are the writings we have for the use nowadays. As you can see, technically there exist more. But yeah, it's much, luckily, contemporary Japanese way easier than it used to be. Okay, with this we can go back. This was luckily easy enough. Unfortunately, the other one, as soon as it... let's open it. It's actually way... there's way more to say because it's more complex. First and foremost, we'll come back to this form, the contemporary one, but it's a new form of the kanji. The older form, which is the one we want to check out to study its etymology, its origin, is this one. We then come back, of course, to the modern one. Also to learn the stroke order of that one. But yeah, we start with this. And actually, let's start with the easiest part, which is the semantic one. Which is this one. Technically, a kanji... let's wait a second. Technically, a kanji on its own, we can quickly see its stroke order, even though, again, it's usually not used on its own. I don't think we'll quickly see also if it's it shouldn't be a Joyo kanji. Maybe it's a Jinmei kanji, so not a common use kanji, but maybe in the name list might be even hyogai, and so actually out of those lists. But yeah, we'll see quickly its stroke order anyway. It's a reminder of how the strokes work in Japanese in general. We start at the top with this kind of big comma, then top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom as a single stroke, left to right, top to bottom as a single stroke, left to right. for this part. At the bottom, we actually have something that looks like the kanji for 10, which I think we have already studied before in Kirby's Adventure. Again, check that out, check the series out if you want to review it. Yeah, luckily that is simply left to right and top to bottom, then in the middle. So yeah, just as a reminder of the stroke order in Japanese. Another example, yeah, the general rule is left to right and top to bottom. As you have seen, there are also those left to right, top to bottom on the right, usually strokes as a single stroke. And then there are some additional rules, but yeah, the fundamental ones, left to right, top to bottom, as a whole and for each stroke. And yeah, we'll see, we can see now its historical forms. And it's actually a pictogram, a row of steps on a hill, as it says here. It can also be seen in the upper part of the contemporary form of the kanji. Was even more clear in the original form, the Oracle Bone script, as you can see there. Kind of still in the small scale, but yeah, then it further evolved. Yeah, the original version has also at the bottom, instead of a 10, an additional one of those left to right, top to bottom. So actually kind of like the kanji of mouth, but attached to the left stroke, the long left stroke. Sorry, yeah, actually it's Joyo kanji, even though you won't see it that often, technically. Yeah, it's actually used for fu. We have two readings, fu and fu, for the Chinese pronunciations. And then a strictly Japanese reading, oka. Oka on its own, usually written with other kanji, means hill. So yeah, makes sense. By the way, an accent, oka. But I want to show you quickly in practice. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Yeah, if I, for example, search this kanji with something after, yeah, you can do that with the asterisk here in this dictionary, Jisho, this online dictionary. Yeah, technically there's also this reading Tsukasa, but yeah, an archaic reading. Again, nothing, no common words, as you can see. If I search it with it at the end, and yeah, actually there I think we'll see, yeah, and there, there you have actually the reason why it's considered it's part of the Joyo kanji. Actually learned it's part of the subsection of the Kyoiku kanji, so actually the education kanji. So the ones Japanese study at school, actually at the elementary school. And yeah, it's actually still used simply because it's part of the name of the Gifu prefecture. Actually also city, but yeah, more often than not you hear it for the prefecture, unaccented, Gifu. But yeah, so simply used in that. As we see, more useful, but of course you should still remember it because of its reading fu in Gifu. But yeah, actually more useful usually as a waiting again for it to go back, yeah, to normal, perfect, as in its radical form, which is this one. Okay, perfect. The stroke order is simple. As you can see here, hope it's back to, yeah, it is. From here, left to right, top to bottom with these curves, and then top to bottom. Left to right with these curves. This should be a single stroke if I recall correctly, and then top to bottom, also judging by the animation. And yeah, it says, yeah, in Japanese and Korean, well, technically it would be 3 strokes, but yeah, can be 2 strokes actually in China nowadays. Yeah, in that case, in that sense, we have, but the stroke order is the same, so don't worry too much. Yeah, not used on its own. But as we'll see, it's actually used for 2, as an abbreviation of 2 different radicals. The one that interests us is when it's on the left side of a kanji, and yeah, then it's the heel we have seen, the kanji used in Japanese nowadays for as part of the Gifu prefecture or city name. But yeah, for heel, the meaning. Yeah, let's go back. Okay. And yeah, now that we have seen that, and yeah, here you can see in the historical forms of our kanji for Ken, on the left we see the older form of our fu character, our fu radical, the one for heel. And on the right we have the phonetic part, which we'll now check out. It will actually bring us to check out more kanji. Yeah, because originally, actually, it was an ideogrammic compound with that part at the top, which is the character for, like the character of person, which we'll finally study, thanks to this, by the way, we'll see in a second, plus a left to right stroke. I think we have seen this before, and it's, but I'll quickly open it. Yeah, now considered, technically considered a simplified form in Chinese, even though not one actually used nowadays. But yeah, in origin it's simply considered more like technically an open mouth. Can be used also in the sense of a cover. But yeah, technically an open mouth reversed. But yeah, we have seen this before, so again, check out check it out in our Kirby's Adventure series if you want the details. After that, we have this. Waiting. Okay. Okay, soon enough we should be fine. Okay. We have seen, I'm pretty sure we have seen it because, because of the kanji of you, to say includes it. We technically have a mouth above, but what interests us before checking out this kanji is the bottom part, which is this. It's technically a radical form of the kanji for person. So yeah, we'll start with that one. Okay, remove that. Okay. Okay, now we should be fine. Yeah, finally, because I think I've shown it during our Let's Learn Japanese with The Legend of Zelda, the first game series, but there we didn't study the kanji in the title because honestly I felt it was too early, and also they were kind of complex. But yeah, now we have the reason to see the kanji for person. First, the stroke order. As soon as it's okay. Okay. And yeah, as you can see with the animation, quite easy. We start at the top, slanted, and then here, kind of at the center, not exactly the middle, from left to right, another slanted stroke. So yeah, top to bottom slanted, and then the other slanted. And yeah, so this is the kanji for person. As soon as okay. And yeah, you can see here with the historical forms why that's the case. And yeah, it looked more like a person, a standing person, as you can see, a side view of a standing man, highlighting an arm and a leg, as it says also here. But yeah, then of course it actually got slanted, and yeah, it became then the form that we know, that we have in modern Japanese and also Chinese, technically Korean, even though they don't use Chinese characters in everyday writing. Nowadays, I'd say you could also think it as with the body at the center and then two legs, if it can help you remember it. But yeah, let's check out its writings. Its readings for the readings of the kanji. We actually have well, they aren't this many in practice. You can, if you ever check this, for example, here on Wiktionary, you can easily skip the Nanori section, because those are the readings used only in names, in proper names. So yeah, ignore them, but yeah, we'll check. I'll mention now the actual readings used. First and foremost, the strictly Japanese readings, hito, which is quite important, should be unaccented. I'll quickly check, but actually we have seen it before. yeah, unaccented. Okay. And yeah, it's the most common way to say person. Technically also people, even though there are ways to make the plural specifically, but yeah, person in general, and so actually potentially also people, unless we specify the plural. But yeah, it's the fundamental word hito. Even though, as we have seen in previous series, there are several other ones, but yeah, this is the most important one, the fundamental one. Then we have another strictly Japanese reading, ri, which we've actually seen before in when we have seen used this kanji as a counter. Because when you, for the other numbers from 3 onwards, you use one of the one of the Chinese readings. We'll see which one in a second. But to say one person or 2 people, 2 persons, you actually use the strictly Japanese counter, ri. And so you get hitori with so strictly Japanese and so strictly Japanese numbers. So hito, which is also the number 1, strictly Japanese. Notice that hito, just like hito for person. So yeah, most likely not a coincidence. But yeah, hitori, accent on the to, 1 person. Futari should be accented on the ri. 2 people, 2 persons. To count then from 3 onwards for persons, we use the Chinese reading nin. And yeah, as you can see here, it says technically on its own pronounced accent on the ni. So actually accented because the accent is on the syllable as a whole. So nin is a syllable, not the individual mores. In this case, we have 2 mores, which are smaller units than syllables. Can be identical, but other cases are smaller. Also known as beats, haku in Japanese. And in this case, we would have 2 mores, ni and n on its own, 2 mores. Mostly correspond to kana, except for the small yayu yo and a, I, u, e, o, which count together with the previous kana. But yeah, the other ones, n on its own, small su for the doubling of the consonant, long vowel mark, mores on their own. Yeah, accented, so. But yeah, it's actually used as a counter for people other than in some Chinese compounds. But yeah, so it's of Chinese origin, and so yeah, you'd use then Chinese numbers, so san, nin. We won't check now the accent of that. I'll mention also for 4 we don't use the Chinese reading because it would be xi, which unfortunately sounds identical to the pronunciation of the kanji for death in Chinese. So yeah, even more so with nin would be quite unfortunate. So yeah, they use actually the Chinese number instead, the strictly Japanese number instead, yon. In this case, abbreviated into yo, and so becomes yonin. And yeah, then we go back to Chinese numbers, gonin, rokunin. Technically also for 7, shichinin, but more often than not nowadays we use the strictly Japanese reading also for that, nana. nanin, and then we go back to the Chinese numbers, hachinin, and so on. We'll check out the readings, the accent of those when they come up again. Actually, I'll quickly take the dictionary and I'll mention them now at this point. Yeah, I took the dictionary, the one with the accents for the counters. Let me quickly find it for nin. And here it is. Yeah, of course, we have actually the hitori and futari, and the accents are, like I mentioned, the to. By the way, he and fu barely heard if at all the e and u respectively, because they are between unvoiced consonants, and that's the rule. So hitori, futari. So yeah, the e and the u barely heard if at all. Yeah, so to, the accent, and ri for the futari. For the under numbers, we have sannin, accented on the ni, yonin, accented also on the ni, gonin, also on the ni. Then for the other numbers, I see rokunin, accented on the ku, so before the nin. So yeah, another typical spot for the accent. Yeah, then we have shinin here. Actually, it doesn't even show the nana nin variant, which I think I have actually seen before, but let's stick to the one that is mentioned here. So shinin, then hachinin, again before the nin. Then for 9, it goes to kunin. Actually, there technically is also so with the ku. Usually we'd use q. Here apparently it's preferred that one, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if nowadays people use the q-nin instead. And then, last but not least, 10, so junin, accented on ju, so before the nin. So yeah, the rule, apart of course from hitori and futari, which are on their own, is that with the numbers from 3 to 5, they're accented on the ni. And also for 9, if it's the shorter one, the shorter variant, kunin, even though you can honestly ignore it, I'd say. For the numbers from 6 onwards, it's accented before the nin. Yeah, simply to mention it at this point. So, but we'll see them again when they show up. Let's continue. Yeah, last but not least, we have jin. Actually, let me take the dictionary a second. Yeah, I got the other dictionary because jin, other than being used also in Chinese compounds, unfortunately, sometimes nin is used, in other ones jin. I don't think there's strictly a rule in that sense. It depends on, of course, on the origin of the word. I'd say more often than not, at least in the terms that immediately come to mind, nin is the one that's used more. But honestly, I might be wrong in that sense. But yeah, jin is actually still quite important because it's used as a suffix. Technically also accented on its own, as it should show. Sorry. Yeah, now that it shows here. Okay, let's hope it goes back. Okay. As a suffix for a person of a certain nationality. And I took the dictionary just to check it, to be completely sure. But usually the accent should be before jin itself. And yeah, so to make those words, you simply put the name of the country. In my case, for example, which is an easy one, Italia, of course. Italia jin. And so actually the accent would be on the last, on the A. Italia jin. Let me quickly find it. Yeah, here it is. And yeah, actually, as it says here, it's accented on before the jin for most words of that kind. There are a couple of exceptions. The most notable one, unfortunately, it's Nihon jin, which is accented on the G. And yeah, of course, Nihon jin, Nihon, accented on the Ho on its own, means Japan. And yeah, so actually, unfortunately, you have to remember that Japanese, as in a Japanese person, it's accented differently, and so on the jin, Nihon jin. Yeah, all the other ones, there's another exception it mentions here, but it's doesn't interest us. But yeah, for other countries, other modern countries, it's accented before the jin. Yeah, the example that shows here is Chugoku jin. Chugoku is the Japanese name for China. Actually, same in Chinese, of course, with Chinese pronunciation, but yeah. Chugoku is China. So yeah, Chinese person, Chugoku jin. So on the ku, Chugoku jin. Okay. Now that we have seen that, we can continue. We can go back to the form we've actually seen. Let me wait a second. Okay. Yeah, the form we'll actually see in the kanji, which is this one. I quickly show the stroke order. Okay, now we're fine, sorry. Okay, yeah, we start here to the left, on the left, of course, top to bottom slanted, and then top to bottom, and then left to right as a single stroke, with this kind of hook, as you can see here. But yeah, so pretty easy. Left to right, top to bottom slanted, and then top to bottom, left to right. And yeah, so as you can see, yeah, I'll go back quickly. To show the historical forms, and yeah, literally In the past, it was simply attaching the kanji for person, and yeah, only later it got modified and it became these two separate parts. But yeah, it's literally the kanji for person, but with the strokes separated, and then they get slightly modified. But yeah, it's still that. And yeah, it's used nowadays as a component of other kanji, not used on its own, usually at the bottom. It's known also as hitoashi, so which is literally person legs, person legs, actually legs or also feet. The word for foot and leg is the same. In Japanese, technically you can distinguish them with the kanji, but not always is done, and not in this case, for example. Used nowadays would be hitoashi for pedestrian traffic, the first meaning, but yeah. It's not used on its own, so simply remember it for the radicals. Okay. Soon as it... Okay. Yeah, we did that actually. Not only because we got to finally see the kanji for person, but also because it's a component in its person, human legs form of this kanji. We have the stroke order like this in this case. So yeah, not with the animation, but literally stroke by stroke in order. And yeah, at the top we simply add the kanji for mouth. Again, I'm pretty sure we have actually studied it. Check again Kirby's Adventure. In the playlist, the description of the playlist, you can see the exact part in which you can find it. But yeah, we first write the kanji for mouth, so top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom as a single stroke, left to right. And then we simply add person, as in the radical of the human legs, let's call them like that, so slanted, and then top to bottom, left to right, with this kind of hook. And yeah, this kanji is actually nice to study also. Okay. Yeah, it simply adds this mouth and then a person at the bottom, slightly different in the older forms, but yeah, it's still a person. So yeah, a person with an open mouth, most likely, as it says also here, to convey the idea of giving orders. And so actually the meaning is elder brother, most likely because the elder brother gives orders to the younger brothers and sisters. Compare also, as it says here, another kanji with a similar origin. But yeah, we'll focus on this for now. Yeah, so it means elder, older brother. It has the strictly Japanese reading ani, accent on the first syllable, which is the one used when you refer to your own, when you are speaking about to someone else, your older brother. By the way, as it mentions here, technically that the origin would be a, which is an an older form of for I, then the possessive particle no, and then it was actually ye, so it became I for older brother, Ani, but it became also a ne for elder sister. Should be also accent on the first. Actually, that one unaccented, so be careful. Ane. But we'll see that one again. But yeah, it was worth mentioning. So simply a compound, technically, then short contracted. My older brother, and then also sister became. But yeah. With the difference nowadays of the vowel at the end, ani and ane. Also the accent. So, but yeah, here we have ani. There is also technically another strictly Japanese reading, ni. Usually not used on its own. It's used with an honorific prefix o. And also san, the most common suffix for people's names, the fundamental one. And so we will get oni-san, which is used first and foremost to refer to someone else's older brother. It can also be used, although in that case we might see variants like Oni-san with the chan to make it more familiar, to refer to your own brother when speaking, when addressing him, or without the honorific prefix. There are several variants, ni-san, oni-chan, as I mentioned, for children especially. There's also another usage, which is referring to oni-san when talking about, when referring to an older person. This one used usually by children. That isn't technically your older brother, but a generic older male, of course, in the sense of usually a young adult. So yeah, not your actual older brother, but as if it were an older brother in a sense. Yeah, there are these usages, but we'll see them again when we see more of these words. But it was worth mentioning them, also considering that we're studying this kanji. Then we have two Chinese readings, Kyo, which is the one found in Kyodai, which means siblings in general. Literally would be older brother and older and younger brother. But yeah, used actually nowadays for siblings in general also. I can quickly show it and check the accent. Okay. Accent on the first syllable, so be careful despite being a Chinese compound. There's technically a different form, but it's not used nowadays. The other Chinese reading is Ke, not as used as often, I'd say, but yeah, actually still keep it in mind. I think it still shows, but it doesn't come to mind immediately an example. But yeah, with this, finally, we can check out our kanji, or better, the phonetic part of the kanji we want to study, as soon as it comes back there. Yeah, because as we can see in these older forms, let's ignore the oldest one, which is more complex, yeah, we have the open mouth at the top, and then at the bottom, the kanji for older brother written twice. And yeah, as it says here, it originally indicates people answering to a call together or saying the same thing anonymously. And so yeah, that's why this kanji on its own technically has the meaning all together, anonymous. But yeah, nowadays not used on its own, not even I think in its modern form. Yeah, no. So let's go back. Okay, we should be fine. And yeah, so we can finally use that to make our kanji that we want to study. I quickly show here the older forms, the historical forms. But yeah, we simply have the semantic hills, again, we have seen at first. And then at the right, the phonetic part. Potentially also semantic, well, definitely the right one, phonetic, can. And yeah, so can also in this kanji. Potentially also semantic in the sense that all hills, yeah, if a place, a terrain is all hills, it's a dangerous terrain technically. So yeah, it could make sense also in with a semantic sense. But yeah, the most important part is keep in mind that the element at the right is the one that gives the reading can. And yeah, we'll actually go back. As soon as it's fine here. Okay. To the modern form, the one we can actually see also in on the box art. And yeah, it's actually much simpler, luckily. But again, it's a simplified form simply of the one we have seen before. So yeah, we see the open mouth reversed at the top. And then the two older brothers get unified in that in this shape. But yeah, so first we write the radical, the heels as we have seen, the stroke order, and yeah, then of course simply top to bottom slanted to the left, top to bottom slanted to the right, left to right, top to bottom, we left to right, top to bottom, left to right, so we practically write the mouth. Last but not least, we write practically the kanji for person, starting at the top, at here with the on the middle in the middle here, and then left to right slanted and left to right slanted. Unfortunately, we don't have the stroke order with the animation or the so you have simply to keep in mind what I mentioned here. But yeah, again, follow the rules and you'll be fine. Yeah, first and foremost, we have the Chinese reading can, again, because the phonetic part has that reading can. The one we find in our word boken, adventure. It has another reading, a strictly Japanese one, more than once technically, but this is the one that is used nowadays, kewashi. I'll show it better here. Yeah, here it is. Should be accented, I think, but we'll check. Yeah, accented. Yeah, it's an E adjective. And kewashi means precipitous, rugged, inaccessible, impregnable, steep. Yeah, I'd say the best translations would be rugged, steep, precipitous even, you could say. But yeah, makes sense again, also considering the radical of hills we can see. But yeah, so actually the meaning of the kanji on its own would technically be steep, severe, perilous by extension, and yeah, that's why then it's used for boken, the one we're studying here, but also for kiken, as I mentioned, danger in general. And yeah, with that, we've actually finally finished studying this kanji. Finally close this. And we've actually run out of time, so I'll close the app. And yeah, so in this first episode of Zelda II, The Adventure of Link, we've actually only it took quite a while since there were a lot. We focused on studying the kanji of the title, boken in particular, because the rest of the title is in kana, as I mentioned. And yes, so next time we should be on Monday as usual. Yeah, should be regular. We'll continue this series. And yeah, we'll actually start the game next time. We might have to check out the titles. Well, maybe something on the title screen, the file select. But yeah, since we'll have a full stream dedicated to it, so 2 hours, around 2 hours as usual, we'll definitely actually start it next time, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, and by the way, of course, on Sunday, we'll have our usual stream, mostly just for fun. We'll see, but I think that considering I don't think there is any festival for Sonic Racing Crosswords. Kirby Riders unfortunately hasn't arrived yet, my copy. I was thinking of actually giving F-Zero 99 a try, as I mentioned last time when we played Tetris 99. But yeah, you'll see it when I open it. But yeah, I think that will be our plan. So on Sunday in that, on Monday we'll continue our Let's Learn Japanese with Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. And yeah, so see you next time.